it's time to get continued on our decimal journey. So now we're going to discuss multiplication of decimals, which is really easy. One thing I've noted here is for multiplication, please don't use the multiplication dot with decimals. Between the decimal points and the multiplication dot, it just gets a little confusing. So parentheses would be best. And sometimes you'll actually use the X, which I know I've told you not to use. But when you write multiplication problems vertically, you have to use the X for multiplication. Well, I've outlined the steps for you. You really multiply just normally. Initially, you just sort of pretend that the decimal points are not there. It's only when you get your product that you start trying to determine where to put the decimal point. So you count the number of places to the right of each factor, and then starting at the end of the result that you got, you count to the left that number of places to determine where to put the decimal point. And that's really all there is to it. So I've worked out one example. These first few are really mental. They are just required knowing your multiplication facts, and then we'll determine where the decimal point belongs. So the first one is there just for you to refer back to get all the verbiage down. So you can look back at that as needed. So right here, I know 3 times 4 is 12. So I just put 12. Then I decide where to put the decimal point. So the 4 is really, the decimal is at the end of 4. So there's no places to the right. But there is one place to the right here. So that means from the end, I have to move one place over. So my answer is going to be 1.2. Now, I don't really recommend that you write this step right here. I'm just writing that basically for note purposes. So here's where you're always starting and you're moving to here. So let's try another one. So number 3, I know 6 times 7 is 42. And then I count the numbers to the right of the decimal, the places. So there's 1 here, 2, 3, 4. 4. So I start here and I move 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So my decimal is going to go here, and I'm going to have to fill in zeros. So my answer is 42 10,000ths, because the 2 is in the 10,000ths place. Let's back up to number 2. This one would be read 1 2/10. And while we're in this unit, we'll just say 1.2 and 0.0042. I'm trying to break my bad habit of not putting a 0 in front of the decimal. It's really, I'm trying to learn to do it, but it's not really 100% necessary. I certainly won't take off if you don't put it, but I'm going to try to. All right, let's keep going here. So 8 times 12 is 96. So count your decimal places to the right. So there's 1 here, and there's 1 here. So that's 2. So you start here, you move to the left 2 places. So your result is going to be 0.96. If you need to do the little scoopies, that's fine, but don't box the answer with the little scoops. So here on number 5, think of it as 11 times 11. So that's 121. There's 2 places to the right of the decimal, 1 here and 1 here. So you're going to have to shift the decimal 2 places. So you would get 1.21. I'll squeeze it in right here. Or 1 21/100ths. If you think about it, you're multiplying approximately 1 times 1. So that means you would get an answer close to 1. So if you were off on your decimal and you thought you were only supposed to put it after the 2, you would think Later, logically, that doesn't make sense because 1 times 1 can't be anywhere near 12. So again, always utilize your logic. Here, you're multiplying a little over 1 times a number a little less than 1. So when you multiply a number bigger than 1 times something fractional, like 0.8, well, the result's going to come out to be smaller than 1.2. So that makes sense. Now, this is going to be a very tiny number because we're multiplying 8 1,000ths times 1 100th. But we're just thinking 8 times 1, which is 8. And then I've got 3 places to the right here, 2 places to the right here. So I'm going to have to move my decimal 5 places to the left. So it starts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 4 zeros I'm going to have to fill in. So it'd be 0.00008. Makes sense that that answer would be so small. Then there's some problems that you will need to show work on. And when you show work for multiplication of decimals, the multiplication work is your support. So it's not scratch paper. It's not scratch like we were doing previously. So this is an example from page 114 where your homework comes from, problem number 25. It gives you a value for x, and then it says find 7x. So basically that just means substitute for x. So I'm going to substitute 0.164. So I need to multiply this. So when you multiply, I really want you to do the multiplication vertically. I'm just writing this horizontally over here just to see the problem, but you don't have to do that. In fact, you don't have to do that at all. You may find it easier to just think, oh, I need to take 0.164 and I need to multiply by 7. And when you write, again, when you write multiplication problems vertically, you really have to use the x for multiplication. Let's extend this page a bit. So when I'm multiplying with decimals, I always like to put the problem, not necessarily the bigger number, just the one that has the most digits on top. So 7 times 4 is 28. Carry your 2. 7 times 6, 42 plus 2, that's 44. Carry your 4. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 4 is 11. So this decimal point is not looking too good. Bear with me. One point. There we go. So I count the digits to the right of the decimal points. I've got 1, 2. So I move it over here 2 places over. That's going to put it right there. And then just box your result. So if you want to write 7x equals 7 times 1.64 and then put your result over here, that's fine, but this is still needed. So this part right here, you might write down optional to show. This part up here, not optional. Okay, this is the support. That's what I need to see. All right, let's try another one. This one's got a little bit fancier decimals since number 25 had a whole number. And this one has no whole numbers in it. So we've got to multiply 5.2 times x, and x is 1.82. So we've got to multiply 5.2 times 1.82. We're looking for that result. So I'm a little out of room, so I'm just going to write it vertically. show it. So I would put 1.82 on top because it's got 3 values in it, or 3 place values, whereas the second one, 5.2, only has 2, and then start multiplying. So it's just really easy to make a mistake, which is why I have you working with a little partner on this unit. 10, 1, so we get 4, 6, 4, 9. Let's double check. Just looking at it a minute to make sure I haven't multiplied incorrectly. And it looks like I have. Let's see. 10, 31. No, I don't believe I have. And then I move the decimal over 3 places from the end. So there's 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay, now this last one has 3 numbers in it. So, of course, you're going to do the same thing that you would do if you were just multiplying whole numbers. You can multiply, and it really doesn't matter what order you multiply the numbers in. We're going to check after we finish by multiplying in a different order and making sure we get the same result. So when I first look at it, I noticed that I could multiply those mentally because that's just like 103 times 2. So I'm going to bring down my 3.2, and 103 times 2 would be 206. But then I have to put my decimal in the right place. And when I count right there, I've got 2 places here to the right and 3 places here to the right. So that's 5 places. So it looks like I'm going to have to our pins. Looks like I'm going to have to make that a little bit bigger. And 206, if I move it 3 places, I'm in front of the 206. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 0.00. I'm going to write that again without the scoops. Now I'll go out to the side and I'll multiply this together. On a problem like this where there's 3, it really is a good idea to kind of keep a line going over here horizontally with our steps underneath each other to tell exactly what happened first. So on this one, I'm going to take the one with the most decimal places, 0.00206 times 3.2. All right, so 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1, 1. 2 times 2 is 4. And then, of course, 2 times 0 is just 0. Your filler spot, 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1, that's 1. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 0 is just 0. So add. This is where it's really just, it's so easy to mess up. I'll go ahead and put these zeros because I think I'm going to need those places. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 0.006592 for my final result. So now we'll do it one more time down here. In fact, I suggest you stop the video and try it down below one more time in a different order. So do that. Okay, so I multiplied the first 2 together this time. I showed my work right here. And I just filled in over here the result, 3.296. Brought down my 0.002. And then I've shown that division, or sorry, that multiplication over here. That was pretty easy multiplication, really just one line. Just don't forget that you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal places over, which gives you 0.006592, which was the same result we got in the other order. So that's a great way to verify information, is to just work it a different way. That multiplying in a different order is a different strategy, and that helps us verify our work. So have fun multiplying.